For those over 60, drinking plain water is still highly important. However, water alone no longer tells the full story because your cardiovascular system changes as you age. Vessels lose flexibility, nitric oxide levels decrease, and your brain receives less efficient blood flow. Often, you will notice these shifts in subtle daily ways like cold hands, heavy legs, mental fog in the afternoon, or an unusual tiredness after very little activity. Now consider a different scenario. Visualize waking up in 7 days with better mental clarity, steadier energy, and warmer fingers. Picture yourself walking greater distances, processing thoughts faster, and feeling less fluid retention by evening. That is exactly what this discussion is about. No miracle potions, just 5 logical upgrades to your standard hydration routine. But a single overlooked detail will determine whether these options support your blood vessels or simply pass straight through your system. Keep listening because I will highlight that critical factor near the end of this video, as neglecting it can cause even the most effective options here to fall short. As Dr. William Lee frequently emphasizes, what we consume actively communicates with our biology, and this is completely true. The liquids you choose can either encourage better blood flow or have almost no physical effect at all. Once you cross 60, having no effect is simply not enough because your physiology evolves silently. Your kidneys filter fluids differently, your vessels react more slowly to physical changes, and your cellular tissues take longer to clear inflammatory stress. So while you absolutely must stay hydrated, if you want better circulation, steadier blood pressure, and renewed vitality, plain water requires some support. Today, we will review and rank 5 of the best additions. We will work our way from number 5 up to the most powerful option on the list. To be absolutely clear, none of this should replace any prescribed medical treatments. If you are currently taking hypertension drugs, diuretics, blood thinners, or diabetes therapies, please speak with your doctor before altering your daily habits, as natural compounds remain physically active within the body. Let's start our list at number 5 with coconut water. Many view it primarily as a casual, refreshing summer drink that is slightly sweet and pleasant, but not particularly useful for overall wellness. That assumption is incorrect. The true value of coconut water lies in its potassium content, a vital mineral that becomes increasingly important to your body as you grow older. To understand why, consider that sodium draws fluid directly into your circulation, and excessive levels can increase pressure against your arterial walls. Potassium naturally counteracts this process by prompting the body to eliminate excess sodium, and when that internal ratio improves, systemic pressure typically drops. This change is highly relevant if you regularly wake up with puffy hands, if your blood pressure spikes after eating salty meals, or if you feel like your heart is working under constant strain. Some preliminary studies suggest that incorporating coconut water may help support healthy blood pressure readings. It won't happen overnight for everyone, but the potential is certainly worth noting. For a practical approach, select pure, unsweetened coconut water in the morning rather than brands high in added sugars, keeping to 1 moderate glass served chilled or at room temperature. For added benefit, pair it with a handful of raw pumpkin seeds. This pairing is highly effective because you are securing essential hydration alongside magnesium, potassium, and trace minerals that support blood vessels. That structure defines this entire discussion, avoiding overhyped health fads and simply offering your body the practical nutrients it needs. If you already consume coconut water, I would love to hear how you integrate it into your day, whether in the morning after exercising or as an afternoon treat. Reading these comments is highly informative because practical, everyday routines matter much more than perfect wellness theories. As a quick mental image, consider your blood vessels as garden hoses. When your internal chemistry remains balanced, the hoses stay flexible and compliant. But when things fall out of balance, those pathways become stiff and constricted. While coconut water isn't the most potent option on our list, it is a gentle and useful replacement for plain water that is highly worth considering. Our fourth option, water mixed with tart cherry juice, is even more compelling, particularly if you find your physical comfort declining in the evenings. This helps address stiff joints, interrupted sleep, muscle tightness, or that frustrating sense of exhaustion paired with an overactive mind. In reality, vascular strain and poor sleep quality are deeply connected, with systemic inflammation often sitting right at the center of both issues. Tart cherries contain two exceptionally helpful natural compounds, melatonin and plant pigments called anthocyanins. These antioxidants work to limit systemic inflammation, while the melatonin assists in establishing a healthier sleep wake cycle. When you achieve better rest, your cardiovascular regulation typically normalizes, allowing your brain to process waste products more efficiently while lowering stress levels across your nervous system. That represents a major shift for older adults, as many are navigating chronic inflammation, persistent fatigue, and elevated daily stress in addition to standard hydration needs. The best way to try this is by mixing a small amount of pure, unsweetened tart cherry juice with water during the evening, utilizing just enough to enrich the flavor. Always inspect the nutrition label to steer clear of added sugars, focusing strictly on natural fruit extracts. If you suffer from frequent sleep disruptions, enjoy this drink roughly 2 hours before retiring rather than right before going to sleep, as a slight head start works much better for most individuals. Think of your blood flow like municipal street traffic, where chronic inflammation behaves exactly like slow road construction. Vehicles crawl along, signals become confused, and pressure spikes along minor streets. Tart cherry won't instantly rebuild your entire vascular infrastructure, but it can play a part in clearing out some of those temporary roadblocks, which can make a real difference. Additionally, while many older adults assume their sleep duration is completely adequate, digging a bit deeper reveals a very different situation. If you regularly wake up feeling tight, exhausted, or finding yourself waking multiple times a night, you aren't achieving the deep rest necessary for tissue recovery, and your vascular system cannot fully rejuvenate under those conditions. If joint aches and poor sleep quality are primary concerns for you, integrating tart cherry water is an excellent fourth option on our list because it is simple and reliable. Our third addition, water paired with green tea, is highly suited for anyone noticing minor shifts in memory and focus. Perhaps you occasionally struggle with names, lose track during conversations, or walk into a room and completely forget your purpose. Rather than viewing these events as a natural sign of aging, they may indicate decreased microcirculation or underlying vascular inflammation, and frequently both elements are involved. Green tea is uniquely beneficial due to an antioxidant compound known as EGCG, a complex nutrient that plays an important role in preserving your blood vessel lining. A healthier lining allows your arteries to relax more efficiently, which in turn reduces overall cardiac strain, encourages smooth circulation, and delivers optimal oxygen directly to the brain tissues that depend on it. Unfortunately, many people prepare this beverage incorrectly by utilizing active boiling water. This excess heat turns the flavor overly bitter and breaks down the most delicate polyphenols before they reach your cup. Instead, steep the tea in warm but not boiling water, aiming for around 80 degrees Celsius. A simple approach without a thermometer is to let freshly boiled water cool for a few minutes before pouring, letting it brew gently before stirring in a wedge of fresh lemon. This basic step is important as lemon juice preserves the green tea's natural polyphenols and enhances absorption, ensuring your digestive tract can use more of the beneficial nutrients. Lastly, make sure to avoid adding refined sugars, as doing so completely undermines the drink's cardiovascular benefits. As a quick checkpoint, let me know in the comments section if you currently enjoy green tea on a regular basis, and feel free to share whether you sweeten it or take it plain. These seemingly minor habits often dictate the actual health impact you receive over the long run. As another mental image, view your cerebral arteries as small, reactive pathways meant to flex, open, and adapt in real time throughout your day. As we age, that crucial natural reflex can slow down, but green tea works to support that cellular flexibility, allowing the pathways to expand naturally. Over time, you might notice these subtle benefits in very ordinary ways, such as a steadier mood, reduced midday exhaustion, or a bit more mental endurance while working through daily tasks. Before we reveal our top options, let's keep in mind the crucial point about correct application I raised earlier, as we will cover that shortly. Moving to number two, we have hibiscus tea, which stands out as one of the most established natural resources for cardiovascular support, supported by several strong research studies highlighting its physiological benefits. Hibiscus tea offers multifaceted vascular support, assisting with direct blood vessel relaxation, encouraging proper kidney fluid balance, and even demonstrating favorable patterns for cholesterol levels in clinical reviews. Typically, older adults report the most noticeable improvements in their top or systolic blood pressure metric, which often rises first as blood vessels harden over time and force the heart to contract against more resistant tissue. By assisting in relaxing those rigid arterial structures, hibiscus can play a role in easing that workload over time, and these modest, steady improvements add up significantly to protect your long-term wellness. The best way to incorporate this is through steady, daily intake rather than occasional use, aiming for 2 to 3 cups throughout your morning and afternoon, either chilled or warm. Consider pairing a cup with a single, high quality square of dark chocolate, as the natural cocoa flavonols are well known to encourage endothelial health and vessel widening. However, if you already take blood pressure prescriptions or standard water pills, you must track your metrics closely because hibiscus can amplify their blood pressure lowering effects. If you begin noticing signs of fatigue, weakness, or lightheadedness, pause the routine and consult your primary care doctor. Prioritizing accuracy is always key to a safe regimen. To picture this, think of your vascular network like a set of piano strings. If they are wound too tightly, the music becomes strained, and if they lose flexibility, each heartbeat becomes more difficult. Hibiscus helps to gently ease that tension, restoring harmony to your circulation. This unique benefit makes it an ideal choice for number two. Yet our top selection takes it a step further by focusing directly on a fundamental molecule in cardiovascular health, nitric oxide. This brings us directly to beetroot water. This is our most powerful circulation booster because beets are packed with natural dietary nitrates. Once consumed, your vascular cells convert these nitrates into nitric oxide, which acts as the primary chemical signal telling your arteries to widen and allow blood to flow smoothly. However, aging causes a notable drop in your natural production of nitric oxide, often falling to a fraction of the levels enjoyed in youth by the time you cross 60. When your nitric oxide levels decline, a cascade of vascular challenges occurs simultaneously. Your arteries become noticeably stiffer, your muscle tissues receive reduced circulation during movement, your cognitive reserves receive less oxygen under stress, and overall endurance dips during daily tasks. This is exactly why some older adults state that despite drinking plenty of water, they still feel persistently drained. While their bodies are technically hydrated, their internal blood vessels aren't receiving the chemical messages they need to expand. Beetroot juice addresses this signaling deficit directly by providing the essential building blocks your system uses to create its own nitric oxide. To use this practically, mix a moderate serving of unsweetened beet juice diluted with pure water, or stir a single spoonful of pure beetroot powder into your morning glass, carefully verifying there are no added sugars or sweet flavorings. Consuming this beverage first thing in the morning or about an hour before enjoying your daily walk is a highly effective way to utilize it. Additionally, do not be alarmed if you notice a pink or reddish tint in your urine later in the day, as this is a benign side effect that many people initially misinterpret before tracing it back to the natural pigments of the beets. Remember, the goal here is not athletic training, rather, it is about supporting daily movement, vascular health, cardiovascular function, and ensuring consistent oxygenation across your organs. Improving these processes can return a real sense of freedom to your physical activity, helping you feel lighter on the stairs, more comfortable while walking, and far less of that, often falling to a fraction of the levels enjoyed in youth by the time you cross 60. When your nitric oxide levels decline, a cascade of vascular challenges occurs simultaneously. Your arteries become noticeably stiffer, your muscle tissues receive reduced circulation during movement, your cognitive reserves receive less oxygen under stress, and overall endurance dips during daily tasks. This is exactly why some older adults state that despite drinking plenty of water, they still feel persistently drained. While their bodies are technically hydrated, their internal blood vessels aren't receiving the chemical messages they need to expand. Beetroot juice addresses this signaling deficit directly by providing the essential building blocks your system uses to create its own nitric oxide. To use this practically, mix a moderate serving of unsweetened beet juice diluted with pure water, or stir a single spoonful of pure beetroot powder into your morning glass, carefully verifying there are no added sugars or sweet flavorings. Consuming this beverage first thing in the morning or about an hour before enjoying your daily walk is a highly effective way to utilize it. Additionally, do not be alarmed if you notice a pink or reddish tint in your urine later in the day, as this is a benign side effect that many people initially misinterpret before tracing it back to the natural pigments of the beets. Remember, the goal here is not athletic training. Rather, it is about supporting daily movement, vascular health, cardiovascular function, and ensuring consistent oxygenation across your organs. Improving these processes can return a real sense of freedom to your physical activity, helping you feel lighter on the stairs, more comfortable while walking, and far less of that, taking hibiscus around midday to support balanced pressure trends, and saving tart cherry for the early evening to encourage peaceful rest. Keep your beetroot serving prepared for whenever you seek general vascular openness, focus, or an energy boost before heading out to stay active. Always avoid drinking all five choices concurrently at full volume during a single day. Taking everything at once is counterproductive and dilutes the focus of your body systems. Instead, pick a single beverage that matches your primary wellness target, allow your system to adapt to it, and adjust your routine from there. In addition, please keep any medication regimens in mind. For example, if you rely on blood thinners, check with your physician before making tart cherry juice a daily habit, and if you take pressure medication, monitor your trends when adding hibiscus tea. Anyone navigating chronic kidney challenges must exercise care regarding potassium-heavy choices like coconut water, and if you have diabetes, read packaging closely, since hidden sugars can quietly work against your vascular health. While some tend to brush these rules aside by pointing out that plant-based options are natural, we must remember that active plant compounds are powerful. Choosing natural methods does not imply absolute safety, but rather highlights the need to utilize these remedies with precision. Try running a basic one-week experiment. Choose one option from our list that addresses your most pressing wellness target. Consume it regularly each day at the optimal time without any added sweetening, and keep a simple eye on three specific indicators: your morning energy levels, the amount of fluid retention in your ankles by the evening, and your afternoon concentration. This real-world comparison is often where patients find positive changes first. Along the way, please feel free to drop a line in the comments letting me know whether brain fog, fatigue, elevated pressure, or sleep difficulties are your main concern today, as this helps me tailor future educational resources for the community. If these concepts help you develop a structured routine, sharing a like is an outstanding way to assist others in locating reliable, practical health information without the hype. If you find these discussions helpful, consider subscribing to our channel, as in our next conversation, we will look closely at dietary items that secretly inhibit your vascular nitric oxide output, even within an otherwise nutritious diet. As a closing thought, remember that preserving our personal mobility and independence does not result from isolated, extreme transformations, but from consistent habits, choosing healthier beverages, prioritizing peaceful rest, and engaging in light exercise daily. Plain water will always hold a fundamental position, but after 60, staying properly hydrated requires more than merely taking in raw volume. Our vascular tissues rely on clean biological inputs, incorporating potassium to balance high sodium levels, antioxidants to calm cellular inflammation, and nitrate resources to ease chronic arterial stiffness. Incorporating these simple upgrades elevates your routine from basic hydration into a proactive strategy that helps your whole cardiovascular network run much more smoothly.